guys, it's Tucker and Janae with Adventures with Tucknay. We recently finished our RV kitchen renovation. If you haven't seen that video yet, you can check it out on our channel. And in this video, we are going to show you step by step how we replaced the slide trim. We got a lot of questions about that. People wanted to know what the process was and how to do it. So that's what we're going to show you in this video.
So first of all, we had demolition. We took all of the old RV slide trim off of the slides, every single slide. And we used a pry bar, sledgehammer, needle nose pliers and pliers, and we got all the trim off, and then we had some brad nails left in there that we had to pull out with the pry bar and a hammer or
and a little
pliers.
Bit of glue too.
And then there was some old glue stuck on there that the RV company Keystone used when they manufactured the slide.
After we got all of the existing slide trim off and everything prepped and ready to go, then we measured for the boards that we needed. We did 2 on the side and 1 on the top, obviously, and then the trim to go along the bottom.
After we measured, we went to Lowe's and we figured out what size boards we needed, how many of them we needed, etc. I was a little meticulous picking the boards out because when you are buying a 12-foot long 1x, there's a lot of them that have a tendency to, bend or be warped back or one direction. So try to pick out real straight boards that didn't have a lot of knots in them and didn't have scarring and whatnot. So pick through that. Probably took a good 30-45 minutes of doing that. Bought them all, we got all the other supplies that we needed and came home to go to work.
After we got home, then it was time to cut the boards down to size and prep them and get them ready to put up.
So to get started, I cut the boards down to size for all the different measurements that we had already taken. Using the chop saw, the table saw, and then after they were all cut to size, we started with sanding them. I used a 1/4 sheet sander with a 220 grit for an ultra fine finish. Got them all sanded and prepped, and then we cleaned everything off according to the stain instructions and let it dry, and then next was the staining process. So once we started the staining process, we'd picked out mini wax wood finish golden oak stain for the stain color. I stained the boards with 2 coats of stain. There was 1 or 2 boards that I'd had to do 3 times just because I didn't get enough stain on there with the cloth not being ready right at the start. The process basically was to stain it, let it sit for, you're supposed to let it sit for about an hour. Due to the weather, I only let it sit for about 30 minutes, and then I would wipe it and put a new coat on, and we got a really good color that we like. Then you'd let it dry for 4 hours, I think was what the instructions said, and then you can seal it. So to seal it, we used mini wax 1 coat polyurethane. It gives 3 times the protection in 1 coat. So we went that route so that it wouldn't take 2 or 3 different coats of the polyurethane. I used a sponge that was sold in the staining section of Lowe's to put all of the stain on, and then I used a paintbrush to apply the sealer, the polyurethane.
We let everything sit and cure for 24 hours, and then we brought it inside and used clamps to hold it in place to get an idea of what it would look like and make sure that there were no further adjustments that needed made. Turned out there were a few small minor cuts that we still needed to make to have it all fit properly, so we took care of those, and then it was time to actually put it in place permanently.
When we were ready to put everything on, we actually used Loctite 0-second instant grab power grip. It's interior construction adhesive to put on the back side to glue up to the top of the slides to help hold it in place as an RV runs down the road. So we got the glue on there, put them in place, and then I used a 16 gauge brad nailer to nail everything in as well, and they are not going anywhere.
No, they're very solid. You may have noticed this centerpiece in the center of the slide above us, so we're going to tell you a little bit about that and how it came about. When we measured for this slide, we found out that it was like 4 inches too long.
It was 12'4" and a board was 12 foot.
So we were just shy, and basically the only thing we could come up with at first was to just splice 2 pieces of wood together, but I was afraid that that might look a little bit odd, especially since this is like the main focal point in our RV. We ended up putting this custom centerpiece in instead. The process for making it was pretty much the same as the rest of the boards. It's a few inches bigger on the top and the bottom so that it would stand out. After Tucker cut the board to size, then he sanded it and stained it to match the rest of the boards. We have a friend who owns a custom etching machine, and so we took it over to him and had him etch our logo into it. It was pretty cool to watch the process. It took a little over an hour, probably start to finish. We actually went over the etching twice, and I really like how it turned out. Originally, we were thinking that we would fill it in with some sort of like a dark stain or like a black paint pen, but after we saw the wood as it was, we really liked how subtle it was. If you're looking at it, you can definitely see that there's something on it, but it doesn't just like, it's not in your face.
Yeah, it's not in your face. It's there, but you have to notice it.
Yep. After the etching was complete, Tucker went over it with a final coat of sealer. It was a little bit more difficult getting this board put in place because we had to make sure that it was level and then it lined up on both sides and all that, but we managed to get it done, and Tucker also put splices back behind it so that if you're looking up from behind, you can't see hardly that there's any difference in the wood.
On the centerpiece, I didn't use any of the Loctite on there in case it was ever needed to be taken down. I didn't want to have to pry glue off of it or anything, so we just secured it with 16 gauge brad nails. I went to do the trim on the bottom of the slide, and I realized that the linoleum actually did not come to a complete finish, so it was going to have a top piece as well. So I cut it to size for the 2-inch across the front of it, and then I shaved a very small top piece as a piece of trim to go on top, and then we were able to get it secured in there, and really turned out good. I used glue and the brad nails on it as well.
After everything was in place, I used this wood putty that is actually stained the same exact golden oak color, which was really nice to already have that done. I used it and filled in all of the holes from the brad nails and finished everything off. If you have any further questions about things that we did not cover in this video regarding the slide trim, please feel free to leave your comments below.
We have several other videos of our RV renovation process so far, and we will link those in the description below.
If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Have a great day, guys.
Thank you.